Okay, so to finish this module off, we're going to be talking about calories and energy balance. So understanding calories and energy balance really start to, I guess, like wrap this week's module up in a little bow. And what it will really do is start to get you guys to understand why or how we can use multiple diets, multiple nutrition methods, or how they may work for people, because we're really adhering to things like calorie and energy balance overarchingly, which is what's getting the result mechanistically. It's just the path that they've chosen to get to the destination. It's probably a little bit different to what other people would choose based off their preferences mainly. So when we look at a calorie, it's a unit of energy. In nutrition, calories refer to energy consumption through the diet from food and drink, and energy usage by the body through physical activity, maintaining normal physiological function as well. So a total daily energy expenditure, we call it. Now, understanding that our body has a basal energy supply demand, just to allow it to survive, maintain its current level of mass, beat the heart, supply the cells, breathe, all of those kind of things. We don't supply our body with energy, it would essentially deteriorate. We would starve and we would die. And people, it's very, very unfortunate that starvation is a really, really, really high, cause of death amongst the world. And it is because those bodies are unfortunately shutting down because they don't have adequate supplies of energy. So it is super important for us just to understand from a support of life perspective that we need energy from the food and we drink for us to stay on this planet. So without getting too deep, we'll get into the rest of the stuff. So in most cases, where we get the major supply of our calories is from our macronutrients. So those macronutrients, the protein, carbs, and fats, if we look at it in terms of 1 unit, so 1 unit is a metric gram, we'll call it. They consume, or say they yield a certain amount of energy per unit. So if we look at it, we have 1 equal unit of protein, carb, and fat. Carbohydrates contains 4 calories per 1 unit. 1 gram of protein is the same at 4 calories per unit. Just rounded up, they are a little bit different when you look at them with the decimal points. And then you've got 1 gram of fat, which contains 9 calories a unit. So if we look at this, protein and carbs is 4 calories and fat is 9. Now, it makes sense when you look at things from a molecular perspective of just like the chains and how they're put together. It is really easy to kind of see why fat is that way. But this is partly why fats get a bad rap. It's like they're twice the density of energy to, carbs and protein. So that's part of the reason why we're all fat now, apparently. When it's not true. Again, we just need to look at our total energy balance, which we're going to talk about next. But we want to get most of our energy, all of our, and fibers within there at about 2 calories. We can round it up to, but we want to get most of our sources of energy from here. So when we look at managing our body mass and understanding energy balance, we're thinking about the total relationship between, or the total flux of energy that's going in the system and out. So if we look at energy in, energy comes in from food and drink. So that's calories consumed. If we talk about energy out is from, training, non-prescriptive activity, so your NEAT. We've got, the thermic effect of food. So it's the amount of energy that your body expends digesting the food we eat. And then you've got your basal metabolic rate. So it's the basal function that your body needs to support that mass at rest. So when we talk about energy balance, we're really talking about this relationship. Now, if we look at things like in this diagram and we have what we call a neutral energy balance, it means that the energy supply coming in is meeting the demands coming out. So what happens in terms of our body mass is nothing. We would maintain that current level of body mass. Now, that body mass may change in terms of composition. We might get a little bit more protein, we might get a little bit more contractile tissue, we might lose a little bit of body fat, but the mass of the body stays the same. And it's because it's influenced on the energy coming in versus the energy coming out. So this is why, once we understand this stuff, guys, what you guys do in your day-to-day life that dictates the energy out, and what you have how you comprise, or what the composition of the energy in is, super important to I guess, like influence what the composition of your body looks like rather than just the mass on the ground. Now, when we talk about positive energy balance, we're talking about the energy going in exceeding the energy going out. So this generally leads to weight gain. Now, weight gain might sound like something that's fucking awful for some people, right? But there's people out there that need to gain weight. There's people out there that are, underweight, unhealthily underweight. There's people that want to build their glutes, their delts, their triceps, their back, for whatever reason. So acutely, they might need to supply more energy in the diet than they're expending through energy, because we need an oversupply of energy in the diet to create extra tissue. You can't add an extension to your house without extra bricks and mortar. It's the same concept. It's like you're trying to build something with nothing, you're going to get nothing. So we need to create a positive energy balance where the energy is greater than the energy in, and greater than the energy out. So then we go to what's the most common kind of environment that people seem the most desirable, which is the negative energy balance. So that generally leads to weight loss, and it means that the energy out is greater than the energy in. So if we wanted to achieve weight loss, fat loss, those kind of things, we would need to have less energy coming in through the diet than we're expending through activity. Now, when we look at the vectors of I guess manipulating the energy flux. So that's what variables do we have to change the energy in and energy out? So we've got activity and we've got food and drink, or calories. Sorry. So we can start to think about, especially from a positive and negative energy, more a negative energy balance perspective. We don't always have to draw back off the food. We can start to think about increasing the activity as well, which we're going to talk about in another kind of module in another week. But I'm just giving you guys a bit of an understanding of we don't just have to kind of peel back off the diet, especially as you guys are in week 6, just before we get to that module. So now we need to think about determining a energy requirement for someone. So we're going to talk about that next. I just realized that this video has gone for way too long.